If you've been in a car accident, what you do immediately after the accident will make or break your claim. Unfortunately, most people make these critical mistakes without even realizing it. These mistakes could cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars, or even the ability to get the medical treatment that you deserve. I'm Peter Jaraysi, a personal injury attorney that has handled thousands of claims, and I've seen insurance companies try everything in the book to deny your claims. In this video, I'm breaking down the 5 biggest mistakes that people make after a car accident and how to avoid them. Stick around for the last mistake because it is the #1 way that people get scammed by their insurance companies. All right, let's start off with mistake #1, and that is not calling the police. Oftentimes, the police report is the only documentary evidence of what actually happened. You need that to prove your claim in most situations. And really, this is an opportunity for you to have an independent party, somebody who's got a lot of credibility, a police officer, to come in, look at what happened in the accident, investigate, ask the questions, and make a determination as to who was at fault in the accident. Now, when you don't have a police report in a case, an insurance company has a lot more leeway when it comes to arguing or denying your claim. If the police weren't called to the scene and the other driver says that, hey, it wasn't my fault, it was his, or some other description of what happened, it's your word against theirs. And so the insurance company is going to take every opportunity to fight it and say, well, our insurance said he wasn't at fault, so it must be true. Again, not having that police report can be very, very problematic for your case. So what do you do if the other driver doesn't want you to call the police? Let's say there are immigration concerns or other concerns, they don't want points on their license, whatever it may be. Again, my recommendation to you would be to call the police anyway. Having that documentary evidence is going to be very, very helpful in your case. The other alternative is to take a recorded video of the other person, having them admit to being at fault for the incident, have them state their name, maybe hold up their ID so they can see who it is, record the videos, the scene, record yourself and state who you are, and just have them make a clear admission of 100% fault. And that should allow you at least a better fighting chance at establishing fault when it comes to your injury claim. Again, the easiest solution is just to call the cops. All right, so mistake #2 is admitting fault at the scene. Now, this may surprise most of you, but there are people that by default, when something happens, they say, oh, I'm sorry. And that just casual apology or casual supposed admission of fault can be really, really damning in your case. If a police officer or even the other person relays that information to the insurance company and they hear that you were sorry for the accident or whatever happened, that could be used against you to show that you were at fault for the accident, even though you weren't. When you're dealing with a situation like this, it's best to be careful about the words you choose to relate to others around you. Now, when it's time to talk to the other drivers and to the police, here's what you do. Right after the accident, the best thing to do is to make sure that everyone in your vehicle is okay. Then if it's safe, step out of your vehicle and go check on the occupants of the other vehicle. Make sure they're okay, but do not say I'm sorry, or do not say I'm at fault, or oh my God, I'm so sorry, that was my bad. Nothing like that. Once you've made sure that everybody is okay and at least in a stable condition, next thing you're going to want to do is call the police. Once the police arrive on scene, that's when you provide them with an accurate statement of the events. Do not say I'm sorry, do not say I'm at fault. Just describe to them what it was that happened that led to the accident. And as long as you do that, you should be fine. Again, no indication that you're at fault or you're sorry for anything like that. Stay away. All right, now on to mistake #3, and that's not seeking medical attention immediately after the car accident. Now, some of the most common injuries that you'll sustain in a car accident won't show up or you won't feel them until a few days after the wreck. And what happens most of the time is that when you're at the scene right after the car accident, your adrenaline is pumping, so it's kind of masking whatever pain you may have from the injuries that you sustained. And so what most people do is say, oh, look, I'm fine. I'm not going to go to the hospital to get checked out. I'm not going to go to urgent care. I don't need the ambulance. And so they go a few days without treatment, and then the injuries and pain start to reveal themselves. But see, here's the problem. Now that 2 to 3 days have gone by, this has given an insurance company the opportunity to deny the claim or suggest that you were hurt by something else, or that you really weren't hurt that bad, and so that's why you didn't have to go to the hospital the first day or two. Insurance companies call this a gap in treatment or a gap in care, and it's one of the biggest value drivers or value detractors in a case. The best thing you can do after a car accident is at least go to the hospital or urgent care just to get checked out. You never know what might be going on in your body and what the adrenaline might be masking. And that way, not only are you protecting yourself physically, but you're also documenting the claim, documenting your injuries the day of, so that there's really no argument to suggest that your injuries came from somewhere else. Here's mistake number 4, which is talking to the insurance company without a lawyer. Listen, what y'all have to understand is that an insurance company and the people that work for them, the insurance adjusters, their job is to pay out as little as possible on these claims. So anytime they have an opportunity to minimize that by getting on the phone with you and getting you to admit to something or say something that could damage the value of their claim, they're going to take it. Now, these insurance adjusters can be a little bit tricky. They'll try to get you on the phone to give a recorded statement and get you to admit to things or say things like, yeah, I'm okay, or, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cause the accident. Whatever it might be, they'll try to get you to trip up over your words, get you recorded, and then use that against you later to suggest that either you were at fault or that you weren't as hurt as really claiming to be, later on down the line. Again, the way to protect yourself from this is to have an attorney with you during the claims process. The attorney during the recorded statement process, if you end up having to give one, the only situation you really would have to give one would be to your own insurance carrier. But again, there are different states that have different requirements, so you'd have to check your laws that apply to that particular situation. But again, the way to solve it, you have your attorney with you, make sure that they're there to protect you and listen to the questions that the insurance company is asking you. If they ask you anything inappropriate, your attorney will have an opportunity to step in and say, hey, we're not answering that question. Or in the alternative, they could coach you beforehand and instruct you what to say and what not to say in order to protect your claim and make sure you walk away with what you deserve. All right, and now mistake number 5. We've made it to the end. Mistake number 5 is settling too quickly. Now, like I mentioned earlier, adjusters and insurance companies can be really, really tricky. Most often, they'll come to you within the first few days of the accident and say, hey, we know you were hurt in this. We know this happened. We know our person's at fault. Here's what we're going to do for you. We're going to pay you $5,000 for what happened, and we're going to give you an additional $2,000 to get medical treatment, and that'll be all you can get for your case. Now, to most people, $5,000 is not a small sum. That's a really significant amount of money. And so when people are approached by this insurance company, the insurance adjuster offering this amount of money, they're like, I feel like I should take this. This is great. I'm feeling okay right now. It's from the first few days of the accident. I have a little bit of back pain, but it's not too bad. Yeah, I'll take it. So they take it, they sign their release, and then they're done. They can't pursue any further legal claim. But then 2, 3, 4 weeks go by and the pain just gets worse and worse and worse. So they try to go back to the insurance company and say, hey, I'm a lot more hurt than I thought I was. Can you pay me for this additional medical treatment that I'm going to need? And what they're going to do is hold up the release and say, hey, you signed your rights away in exchange for that $5,000 and the $2,000 in medical treatment. There's nothing you can do here. And so that person would probably be out of luck in most situations. Now, that $5,000 amount is a pretty high amount. Usually the offers are somewhere around $500 to $1,000, $2,000, but even then, those amounts are still enticing enough to people, so they take them. Now, here's how you avoid this. If an insurance adjuster approaches you before you've hired an attorney and tries to settle the case with you, you tell them, hey, I'm not really sure what the full extent of my injuries are yet, and I don't feel comfortable settling my case at this time. Once I've had an opportunity to have my injuries evaluated and I've completed my course of treatment, then we can talk settlement and possible resolution of the case. The thing is, before you accept any offer, you need to know what it is that you're dealing with, what has happened to you after the accident. Again, like we discussed earlier, adrenaline can mask those injuries. And if you accept an early offer, you are shutting the door on any possible recovery for yourself in the future, again, in most situations. We just covered the top 5 mistakes that people make after their car accident. But what do you do if the insurance adjuster lowballs your settlement offer after all this stuff? And check out this next video where I break down how to stop your insurance adjuster from lowballing you to ensure you get a maximum settlement. We'll see you over there.